Have you ever said yes when every part of you wanted to say no? Have you ever stayed quiet because you were afraid of what people would think if you spoke the truth? Or maybe you've spent your whole life trying to make everyone happy, your family, your friends, your coworkers, even people who barely know you. And no matter how hard you try, it never feels like it's enough. If that's you, you're not alone. A lot of Christians call this being kind. Others call it being humble. But sometimes it's something much deeper. It's people pleasing. And if you're trapped in it, it can quietly control every decision you make without you even realizing it. Here's the scary part. People pleasing doesn't always look sinful. It can look like serving. It can look like generosity. It can even look like ministry. But if the reason you're doing those things is because you're desperate for people's approval, then you've made their opinion more important than God's. That's exactly why Galatians 1:10 is so powerful. Paul writes, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." Notice Paul doesn't say you can't love people. He doesn't say you shouldn't serve people. He doesn't even say their opinions never matter. He asks a different question. Who are you living to please? Because you cannot live for God's approval while being controlled by everyone's opinion. At some point, those two paths will collide. And when they do, you'll have to choose. Think about Jesus. Jesus loved people perfectly, but he didn't live for their applause. One day, the crowds wanted to make him king. Another day, they wanted him crucified. His mission never changed because his identity wasn't built on public opinion. That's the difference between loving people and living for them. One flows from freedom. The other flows from fear. And that's what people-pleasing really is. At its root, people-pleasing isn't a personality trait. It's the fear of man. It's believing someone's approval has the power to define your worth, your value, or your security. The Bible speaks directly to this. Proverbs says, "The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe." A snare is a trap. And that's exactly what people-pleasing becomes. You become trapped by expectations, trapped by guilt, trapped by the need to keep everyone happy. Eventually, you become exhausted because you're carrying a weight God never asked you to carry. So how do you break free? First, remember whose approval you already have. If you've placed your faith in Christ, God doesn't love you because everyone else approves of you. He loves you because of what Jesus has done. The cross settled your value. You don't have to earn what God has already given. When that truth sinks into your heart, other people's opinions begin to lose their grip. Second, practice obeying God even when it's uncomfortable. People-pleasing grows every time fear makes your decisions. Faith grows every time obedience does. Sometimes obedience means saying no. Sometimes it means telling the truth. Sometimes it means disappointing someone you care about. That doesn't make you unloving. It makes you faithful. Even Paul, who wrote so much about love, refused to compromise the gospel just to make people comfortable. Neither should we. Third, stop measuring your life by everyone's reaction. You cannot control whether people misunderstand you. You cannot control whether everyone likes you. Even Jesus was misunderstood. If the perfect Son of God couldn't please everyone, neither will you. Your responsibility isn't to manage everyone's emotions. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to God. That changes everything. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" start asking, "What would honor God?" That one question has the power to reshape every decision you make. Now, this doesn't mean becoming rude. It doesn't mean ignoring wise advice. And it certainly doesn't mean treating people without love. The Bible commands us to love others deeply. But loving someone isn't the same as being controlled by them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is tell the truth. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is set a healthy boundary. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is obey God even when someone else doesn't understand. If you've spent years trapped in people-pleasing, here's what I want you to hear. You are not condemned. You are being invited into freedom. Jesus didn't die so you could spend your life enslaved to everyone's expectations. He died so you could become a servant of God instead of a prisoner of public opinion. Galatians 1:10 isn't calling you to care less about people. It's calling you to care more about pleasing God than pleasing people. And when that becomes your priority, you'll finally experience the freedom you've been searching for. So here's your challenge. The next time you're about to make a decision, pause for just a moment and ask yourself one question. Am I doing this because I want to honor God or because I'm afraid of disappointing people? Answer that question honestly. It might reveal what's really leading your life. If this video encouraged you, share it with someone who's constantly carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. And if you want more biblical teaching that helps you grow deeper in your walk with Christ, subscribe to Biblical Truths. Remember this: the more you seek God's approval, the less you'll be controlled by the opinions of people.